All right, Conesy, we're home.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. Can we have a second one?
A second what?
A second Gen Con!
Oh, of course you can have a second Gen Con. You just need to wait until next year. Okay. Till then, let's roll into what we did this year's Gen Con.
I'm sad now.
That's okay.
Welcome to WiscoDice! Hey, yo, folks, I am your host, the Conesy with the Mouse, and I am joined today by...
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
And you know what? You're bruised and battered.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still super excited and exhausted, but we're back from the best 4 days in gaming. That is Gen Con 2024.
Yeah, it was a great time, and we're excited to tell you all about the highlights that we saw and what we did there. But before we do that, go right ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe if you haven't already, so that you are notified of more content coming from us. So,
And if you were at the show,
yeah.
make sure you drop a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite moments were from this year's Gen Con, what your favorite game was you played, or what the game is that you brought home and are most excited to play.
We are going to roll into the highlights for Conesy and Suzanne at this year's Gen Con.
Yeah, we were both there, right?
Yes, we were both there. We did not see much of each other.
It felt like this crazy blur. I can't believe that was 4 days plus the Wednesday before it. It just vanished before our eyes, and we were heading back home. I was so sad, actually, this year, more than like other years. And we stayed longer all day on Sunday, right up until 4 o'clock, basically, when everything shut down.
Yeah, and every day we were there at like 7:30.
Yeah, super early in the morning, go as long as we could.
Yep. And so we were really there this year, whether you think it or not.
Yeah. So you saw the crazy guy running around with this wonderful hat that leads me always to Mordor, or you saw this wonderful lady at Gen Con. We're awesome to have gotten to see you, say hi to you in the hallways or wherever we got to see you. If you played at any of the games at Dungeons and Dragons that I ran, or happened to catch up with us in Open Gaming or wherever.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Just kind of all over the place. So yeah, so Conesy, what was your the biggest highlight for you this year?
So I did something this year that I have never done at a convention ever. I've run games, I've run a lot of board games, I've run miniature games, I've organized events. Back when I was running the old Merry Mayhem for the Warhammer Fantasy and coordinating with other miniature games, it was starting to turn into its own little kind of almost mini convention. But I have never done this one thing. And that one thing is run Dungeons and Dragons at a convention. Now, I've been a long time dungeon master since I was 14, 15 or something like that, maybe younger. And I have a lot of experience at running Dungeons & Dragons games, but this year I had the opportunity to run Dungeons & Dragons games for one of my favorite 5e edible products companies, Gooey Cube, and so I spent a good portion of my Gen Con running games of Dungeons & Dragons for players coming to my table that I had never met before. And there's a certain amount of anxiety and nervousness about doing it. And will they think I'm a good GM? I've never other than kind of groups that I've invited to the table. I know that I a lot of times knew who they were. No idea if I was going to be a good GM or not. It was an absolute highlight to my weekend. I was super energized from it. I was absolutely ready after running all of those games in 4 days to run more. I'm so excited.
You were jumping up early every morning to hurry up and let's get going, let's get there. And it was I'm waiting for you so we can go have dinner after you're done. And you're still in there talking, having fun. You were very excited about it.
I came to the table knowing I was going to have a good time every game, all weekend. And so that let me just focus on making sure everybody else had a good time. And I mean, proof's in the pudding. If you played at one of my tables, you can let us know in the comments, or I think surveys just went out from Gooey Cube trying to find out if you had a good time. So make sure you let them all know who was your DM and that you had a great time, because I absolutely had the best time of my life running all of those games, whether it was the Tables of Shades of Loss, the Great Gooey Game Show, Truth Lies Cold, or Darkest Dream, or Dark Tide's Night, actually, not Darkest Dream. Darkest Dream's a campaign, first chapter. So Dark Tide's Night, it was absolutely brilliant. Great time, great way to end the con too, because I worked the whole day on Sunday running games. Yep. And I did, I barely had a moment of downtime.
Yeah, it saved us quite a bit of money with you running games the whole time.
I'm not so sure about that, as we're about to find out. But what was your favorite part of Gen Con?
My favorite thing at Gen Con, and it's kind of the same every year, is talking to people. Whether you are a con goer it's there for your first time, your 20th time, you're a game designer, you're demoing games. I just love talking to you and hearing about why you're there, what you're having fun with, all that good stuff. And as an added bonus this year, I came across several people that were trading items that they had put together. And years past, I don't know that I really ran into people that were trading items, and I had seen some of the posts on Facebook and other social media, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Oh my gosh, that was I just felt so special every time I ran into one of them too, and I could trade them some WiscoDice swag for friendship bracelets and little ducks and dice and stuff. But I was given, you didn't have to trade me for anything. I was just given the WiscoDice swag away. But It was a great way to meet people and have, a conversation for a few minutes there. So if I ran into you or played a game with you and I was asking you a whole bunch of questions, just know I enjoy that so much. I met people from New York and Colorado, Canada. I think there was someone from Alberta and someone else from Ontario, for sure, from Canada. Let's see, met the people that had come in from Netherlands, which I thought was really cool too, that they flew all the way here just for Gen Con. Florida, I could keep naming all the places. And I met a lovely couple that is right from where we live. We just our paths have never crossed, so that was one of those great chance encounters. So that was that. If you've met me, I can talk and listen for quite a while, and I just so enjoyed that interaction portion of the convention this year, even more so than other years.
For someone that's a little introvert, it's always awesome to hear that her favorite part of going every year is always the hanging out and talking and meeting new people. So
At Gen Con, it is they market it as this very inclusive place, and it really is. You can talk about anything and you don't have to feel out of place or, hey, are they not going to get it or whatever. But it's just
it's really just don't be a jerk to anyone, right? I mean, we don't care, right, about any of that. We don't care what.
It's just a great place to go and talk. If you are very shy and you want to practice your social skills, come to Gen Con. Deal with the crowds or whatever you need to do and talk to people.
There's all sorts of people and types, and it was a great time.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
what else did you do besides running games for Gooey Cube? You did something else.
I did actually play some board games. And so
just a few.
Not that many, actually.
I know. It's just a few.
You played a ton of games or did a ton of demos.
That's what I was there
did
for.
not get a whole lot of actual gaming time where I wasn't running Dungeons and Dragons, but that meant that the gaming time that I got, particularly at Gen Con and at the Open Gaming Thursday night, was extra special and extra awesome. And it partially was extra special and extra awesome because I got to play 2 games that have become some of my favorite games to play. One of those games is Dawn of Ulos from Thunderworks Games. Now, part of the reason this is one of my favorite games to play right now is the fact that I took the time to paint. Due to our WiscoDice paint night that we organized, I started painting the figures that you really were pushing me to paint, and I got it all done.
Oh my gosh!
And it looks so cool and makes such a... it does. It changes the way that game feels and presents on the table, and it's so much easier to visualize like these fantasy races on the board
and the terrains you're matching up. Mm-hmm. Like that was a big thing for me, and yes,
absolutely. But it just takes that game up to 11. So that Dawn of Ulos, which we hopefully will get to or review on the show at some point. But the other game was Distilled from Paverson Games, and that we have reviewed and will be linked up there somewhere. At this point is another game that I absolutely love. And not only that, did you hear what our friend Dave received?
Oh, yes. Dave Beck from Paverson Games. He's the designer of Distilled. He got Dice Tower Award at Gen Con this year. Big deal.
Yeah.
First game he's produced.
Yeah, no, first time publisher, first game at the publisher. Of course, Luthier, which we had the interview for as well, and is at the time of this recording, there's still a couple of days yet to back that game, wink wink, but yeah, they were really focused on Luthier at the show, but it was really cool to see Distilled, which we've been really high on.
Oh my gosh, it's
get
a
such
wonderful
recognition.
game.
But then letting other people play it and explain it and enjoy it with other people at the table was really good as well. I mean, those weren't the only games, but that Thursday night time that we got in open gaming after shopping in the exhibit hall and running some D&D, and you were playing some games otherwise. It was also like the only time I think the two of us really got together at Gen Con to play a game, which was Distilled as well. So it was the only game while we were actually in a official Gen Con event space that we played together during the whole time Gen Con. So that was nice.
Yeah. This was kind of a vacation for us that we went to the same location and did pretty much separate things.
But Thursday was our big kind of day we got a lot of time.
And it was by choice and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, you were playing or running those games for GUI Cube. I was in the vendor hall going to every booth I could to demo games. Mm-hmm. I love seeing new games that are coming out. I also really like to experience a little bit of a game for myself before I purchase it when I can. Because I'm not, like, you could read reviews and you see reviews and you pick people that you know that, hey, like the games or like similar games to you so you can trust them. But a lot of times it's just really fun to see these games being played in person. So I demoed tons of games, big publishers, small publishers, talked to a lot of game designers too, about their game, and it was fun to see them get so excited about games that they have brought to life.
Especially by the time you get to them on Sunday afternoon when they're exhausted, you're exhausted, everybody's exhausted. They've said the pitch about 1 billion times. Yeah, that's when you really get to figure out which publishers are still really excited about those games.
Oh my gosh, yes, and there was a gentleman there, and he had this game that has gone to Kickstarter, and he was just super excited, trying to get people to come and demo it. Had a very small booth. It was definitely worth sitting down and playing that game for, too.
Do you remember what game that was?
I will have to go back through my notes.
We'll have a picture on screen.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely took pictures of it and everything, and there's other ones that, I walked up to the booths at, like, Sigil, that just looked so pretty with the stones, and it just drew me in, and I was just shocked by how complex the gameplay was with it. It's one of those simple games, but that can be very complex with trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And so there's just several games like that.
All right, well, let's talk about our favorite experience
Yes.
at Gen Con. Now, I'm going to caveat my favorite experience with it being something that I didn't do as part of staffing for GUI Cube, because
we did this together. We did something else together at Gen Con.
we did this together, which was also nice. But I want to make sure that I don't want to just make this all about GUI Cube, because that was a major highlight for me. And
Sure.
if you haven't played a GUI Cube game and you're into Dungeons and Dragons, I do strongly recommend you.
Even if you're
check
not
them out.
into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth.
We'll have another video. We'll talk
RPG
about
games.
that.
Yeah, I plan on actually doing a different video if I, knock on wood, find time. So my favorite experience really, and this has become kind of a tradition for both of us, is to try to attend at least one of the Gamers Lives events. So that we got to go see the one that Raj runs, was the title of it, and
Lodge runs.
or Lodge runs, yeah, not
Lodge.
Raj.
You're gonna make up a lot of stuff in this, but not the character's name, not those characters, but
yeah. So I mean, the nice thing is it gives us 2 hours off our feet to watch a comedy show about gaming. And if you've seen anything with the gamers, like say the Gamers, Darkness Rising, or any of their other feature films, or if you've watched Onward, Journey Quest, that's it. Journey Quest. Yeah, you haven't really watched Journey Quest. I did get you to watch Darkness Rising, and I think the sequel to that was. Anyways, it was, it's really become part of our tradition now to find either a Friday or a Saturday where we can go and see that show. It is absolutely worth it. It's tons of fun. It's laughs, and like I said, Gen Con can easily be a trap for spending all your time in the exhibitor hall, spending a bunch of money, and not taking some time to just unwind and enjoy, a little bit of time.
There's other things there besides playing games and buying games.
Yep. So, this is, like I said, Gamers Live's been a real big tradition for us. So, what did you really enjoy? What was your favorite experience of the show?
My favorite experience is something I've been trying to get a ticket for at least the last 3 years. And it's not a board game. The miniatures game area, which is in, I believe it's Hall A lot of it is. I love looking at the setups and everything that they have there. And I've dipped my toe in several different miniatures games here and there. And, I played Batman with Conesy and some of his friends. But Malifaux has always caught my eye. And I've read the books for it on how to play, but it's still not the same as actually playing it in person. So I finally got tickets to the A Learn to Play event for Malifaux by Weird Games, and it was fun. It was everything I had dreamed it to be. Like, seriously, I'm excited to figure out how to play Malifaux with someone here in town, like you.
Yeah, I would imagine probably your first games will probably be against some either my Neverborn or Resurrectionist crews, but
so I'm just, that was my favorite experience, is that I finally got to do this and figure out how to play the game, and I'm just hyped and stoked to go.
Did you flip a red Joker?
No, I never did. I just did the black ones a lot of times.
You figure out the black Joker's not your friend?
Yes. I will say, dice rolling, have luck. I seem to do better with dice rolling than flipping cards.
Yeah, Malifaux is definitely a game where instead of rolling dice, you flip cards to resolve different things when you need randomness, which means you can, and then you have a hand of cards you can cheat, which basically lets you replace a flip if you need to. With hopefully a better result for yourself. And so it's a really interesting mechanic to tie into a miniature game. And certainly if you're good at counting cards and understanding where your deck is, you can manipulate, or you can ensure that you're going to manipulate things pretty confidently. So Malifaux is a lot of fun.
Yes. So, though, going back to games that you've been playing, What was your favorite one?
What was the favorite game I played? I'm not gonna call out on a specific session of D&D that I played, but I'm just gonna say Dungeons and Dragons was my favorite game I played, and specifically Gooby Cube games, and hands down, like it absolutely was. I didn't play a lot of other games though this year, so I'm gonna caveat it with that.
And those other ones you played, you didn't always win.
I played Distilled, like we talked about, Dawn of Ulos, Dungeon Cart, which we played, figured out and learned how to play up in the hotel lobby, and then we played Zoomies, which all of those were a lot of fun.
And all of those you lost.
I didn't win. Yeah, I didn't. Well, I guess that's a nice thing about Dungeons and Dragons. Is like when you're the GM, when you're the dungeon master, you're at a convention. Unless you're running a hardcore and everybody knows that you're going to kill them, you know you're inevitably going to lose the scenario, right? That's kind of part of the idea, I think, to ensure that everybody's having a good time. But it was absolutely, seeing people come up with crazy ideas for how to solve things at the table, and trying to egg them on, or are you sure? Are you absolutely sure you want to do that? And yeah, I'm definitely doing that. I'm like, okay. I'm going to take a note over here, or something like that, and just having the chance to kind of a little bit mess with players and get them going, because part of that experience was, or part of some of those scenarios that we were running definitely you wanted to kind of up the suspense or up the tension a little bit.
Which you just had a blast doing.
I love doing that. I love that part of it. And then, seeing them be victorious at the end, and they're all high-fiving and cheering. And
anyway, so while you were doing that, I did have some ticketed games that I played.
I heard you did that, yeah.
Yes. My favorite game, we did not get to go all the way through it, but it was a really pretty game. I like pretty games that also have some strategy in them. So it is Aquatica, specifically with the Coral Reefs expansion, which recently came out, and this is by Arcane Wonders. Aquatica has been out for a bit. I just have not had the opportunity to play it. And you are doing some deck building and some tableau manipulation, and there's just a lot of different things that you are doing to score points in the game.
Okay.
And there's not much player interaction, except for maybe if they buy something that you wanted first.
Which she will inevitably do to me now that when we play this game.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean that's the thing. So I do like player interaction where I can have someone take that moments and screw someone up. But overall, this was a very
particularly me.
But it was a very nice game where you could sit through and kind of plan things out, and manipulate your cards in your tableau to, what's the best time to activate certain things, and flip over these stingrays that have special abilities on them, so to maximize your points in the fewest amount of turns. So it was very nice. I went and I did end up purchasing the Coral Reefs expansion and the other expansion, which I forget what it's called, but there's only a couple of those left.
We still don't have the base game, mind you.
I don't have the base game because they were out of that at the booth, but I did order it online right after on the way home, and it should be here in a couple of days, so we can play that game.
Yeah, so I guess we'll count that as part of our Gen Con haul, even though she ordered it in the car on the way home because she couldn't get it at the show. Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was just, I think it's going to be a great game to play with our great gaming group too.
All right.
So, but I don't know. So I'm excited to play that game, but we don't have it to play yet. So Conesy, what do you have that we are going to be digging out soon to play?
Sure. So I want to kind of note and caveat that this could be a game that we saw, but didn't bring home because maybe we couldn't get a copy of it. Or perhaps it's a game that we did bring home I think these happened to both be games that we brought home.
Yes, we did bring both.
But
I hope we brought both of these games home.
We did.
Okay, they have to drive back and get it.
Certainly when I was taking my selection, I was thinking about, and a couple of honorable mentions here that I do want to mention because they were either really hot talked about at the show or were games that definitely did pique our interest. I know Rock Hard 1977 was a game that you got to go see. Picture on screen.
I didn't get to play it, but I got to look at the components and everything.
But that was definitely one of the hot games that was really talked about at the show that I don't think we really talked about, and I'm not sure it's a perfect fit for us, but I think it's a really
we do have friends that were there that got it.
Yeah, we certainly will be playing it at some point.
Gnome Hollow by
Gnome Hollow.
the OP. That one, that was like a huge hit. I only got to see the demo of it from a distance. And when I mean a distance, I'm like 3 or 4 people deep. So it is on BGA, Board Game Arena. So if you want to check it out, which I am checking it out there and stuff. It's like a cute little tile placement manipulation score points game is and what it is.
And then I think one other one that we probably should mention here as well, Clank Catacombs, the expansion for that.
Oh, yeah, the layers.
And I don't remember exactly the name of it, but was definitely in the games that we were really anticipated to see. We did get to see it at the show.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. It's not a huge expansion, but I think it just adds a little bit more on really to that Clank Catacombs expansion, which is our favorite version of Clank.
Yeah, we are in agreement that is our favorite version of Clank.
So, but it's certainly, I think if we didn't get a little bit more content for it, it would probably eventually get to a point of exhaustion. So we're really excited to get that at some point. But those are the honorable mentions. The game I'm most excited to play, and the game that I've heard so many good things about, and I know it released a while back, but this has really been the first chance that we had to get it. And what was awesome carrying this game out of the exhibitor hall was how many not only the arm workout, but the amount of people that were like, ooh, wow, that's a game. That is a big game. And that game is Voidfall from Mind Clash Games. Now, our copy they were only selling ding and dent copies, so our copy did get a little bit of a dent and smashed up in one corner. For us, that doesn't bother us, but it also meant we got it on a pretty good discount. So it is the big box of it. I think they were also selling the miniature pack for it as well. We didn't pick that up. But I
didn't have enough hands to carry any more than that box.
That is kind of true. I had a wife, though.
I had bags of my own.
The miniatures weren't that big. But I definitely wanted to get it to the table. We've got a lot of miniatures for other games, and I want to be able to experience Voidfall. I really like the idea of it being kind of a more Euro-styled 4X game. I think that's going to be really clever and really neat. I think we're going to have a good time playing it, and hopefully we can find a few more friends that'll play it with us. Maybe, get it into some kind of, I don't know if it'll be able to fit in. We'll get a sense of how long it's going to take to play, if we can get it to fit in on our regular game nights or not.
But it will be a cool game to play, and I will enjoy digging through the box to see what treasures are in it.
It's such a big box. There's got to be plenty of treasures in there.
Yes. So the game for me that I am most excited to play is one also that we brought home. It is an Age Contrived, and this is designed by Chris Matthew, and he gave me a little demo of it and showed me the components and kind of how they work, and you're building these structures, these monuments, and there's magnets in them. And if you know me, I'm a sucker for building things as I'm playing a game too, among other things. And there's action efficiency and just some engine building, and you can do things to increase your actions, the impact that your actions have. So I am super psyched to get this out. and play it. And you will see this is one that we have agreed to do a review on
Yep. So
for
we'll do a
Chris. So
full
we'll
review.
be doing a full review coming up on this game.
Yeah,
But
this
I'm
is
so
a
excited for it.
we're provided a copy of this game
Yes.
as well. So we
It's
like most of the games, like most of our pile of loot are all games we picked up during, or other products we picked up during the convention.
Yep.
But this was one that was provided to us, and yeah, I'm actually excited to play it as well.
Looks like a great game.
I legitimately actually have. It looked really good. I've heard some good stuff about this, but I want to really get it to the table and dig into it. We'll need to play it a few times before we feel comfortable doing that review. So sometime in a month or so, hopefully, fingers crossed, things don't mess with our schedule too much. We'll be able to get that out and let you know really a lot more about that one as well.
Yeah. So that's kind of overview of what we did at Gen Con, what our high points were for this year. We'd love to hear what yours were. What games do you think we missed checking out that we should keep an eye out for too? I'd love to know what those are because, we'll go through these games and we'll be looking for some new ones.
I know, we were looking at all of the like loot lists of like people putting up pictures of their haul and going, how did I miss that one? Oh yeah, I remember talking about that one. Oh yeah, I remember looking at that one.
The number of times I walked through what I thought was up and down every aisle in the vendor hall and still was missing games. There are so many people there that it's so easy that, to just, you don't get to see everything.
And vendors are busy. We had a couple of times. One of the things, I really wanted to get a new set of dice this year, but I couldn't. Like, I found a vendor with dice I wanted. I couldn't get their attention to take my money, and we just decided to move along after a while of waiting.
And then it took me 3 days to find them again to get my dice from them.
Yeah.
So if you go, pro tip, write down the booth number so you can find them again. But
Gen Con it's a different beast when it comes to conventions.
Yep.
And it's so large with so many vendors, and they're all so busy, and that especially that exhibit hall is so busy all of the time, from when it opens to when it closes down every day, that it can be a real challenge to see everything that's there, let alone everything that's out on Lucas Oil or halls A through D, or then you start getting into the adjoining hotels.
Yeah.
So, or the rest of what's in downtown Indy. So, yeah. Can we have our second Gen Con now?
In a year, in 2025, July 31st, 2025, you can have second Gen Con.
I gotta wait that long.
Yes, and if you're gonna mope about it, you can go wait in that room without games, the one room in our house without games.
All right. Well, at least we have Strong Tower coming up next to look forward to.
Yes.
And then Dragonfall, and then Gamehole Con, and then Midwinter.
It's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, so plenty of cons. It is con season. Hope to see you at any of those shows. Until next time, peace out. Hey there, it's Conesy. Thank you so much for watching. We put out videos weekly here at WiscoDice. Check out our channel for more great videos, and don't forget to subscribe. We also have more great content on our website at WiscoDice.com. Of course, we do this all for you, the viewers. So please like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.